Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to start talking about communities of practice. In general, I'm the head of the knowledge management practice at the UNDP for the region. That means that I work anywhere from Afghanistan to Fiji, India, China, and all the countries in between. So it's a large scope of what I do. And I'll speak a couple slides very quickly about knowledge management in general, how we approach it, and then I'll speak specifically to communities of practice. Knowledge management, old school knowledge management, when you looked at it, usually happened at the end. So whether it's at the end of a project, the end of a program, where's the knowledge? And this is exactly what we're trying to change. If there's any slide that you remember during this whole presentation this afternoon, this is the one. Because really, this is what we've done at UNDP and the UN, is really starting to shift this. So what we're trying to do is shift this up and really start to look at inputting knowledge management, the process of knowledge management in design. So it's in program and project design. That means that knowledge management doesn't sit alone. It's part of the whole package. So anything that you've heard in the last couple of days, when you talk about knowledge management, even communities of practice don't stand alone. They're part of a larger process. Flagship publications, any type of the social peer-to-peer networks that you want to use, even the platforms, KM platforms. If they're standalone, honestly, they're going to fail. They have to be part of the whole program and project. And this is what really comes into the sustainability, how KM and specifically communities of practice can be sustainable. That means become valuable over the long period. And it really is around defining these knowledge roles up front, distributing your workload up front, understanding, and the benefits of this is this sort of on-demand knowledge. As we're designing 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 20-year projects and programs, things change, governments change, funding models change, environmental issues change. And if you don't know where you are, you can't modify your program or project to adapt. And this is where the resilience starts to come in. So we're going to talk very simple about communities of practice. Very simple. Identify an issue, find the right people with the experience, organize them, and put them to work. That's a community of practice. It's not about opinions. We don't discuss opinions. We have Facebook, we have other social platforms. We're discussing opinions, sharing information. This is around experience. And this is when we talk to communities of practitioners. You've got this inner circle. These are the active people. These are people who are normally quite active with communities of practice. And then you've got this outer circle. Before, they used to be called lurkers. But this is the area where you'll find innovation. This is where you get people, the hybrid people, coming in. And this is where the humanities, the sciences, this is where they will come in, and they'll only add to community practice every now and then, but usually what they add is quite valuable because they look at the problem from a different perspective. What it's not, community practice is not a technology platform. These are things that help the community of practice exist, email lists, databases. These are not communities of practice. There's not social media campaigns. They're for a totally different purpose. So Facebook and these types of things. These are not, again, communities of practice. And they're not one size, cut and paste type models. They're very unique. They're designed very unique for the problems at hand. So whether you're dealing with transboundary issues, like migration, like climate adaptation, these types of issues, whether you're dealing with very national issues, or if you're dealing with sub-national issues, provincial issues, RED+, these types of issues. They're designed very specifically for these purposes. But the way we measure success, it really comes down to this. The communities of practice really do build local practitioner capacity. It's a learning environment. Knowledge without learning is not knowledge. You need a learning environment. It does expand partnership and funding opportunities. It does create new partnerships. And this is done in a very concrete way because when you're exposing solutions, you've got people who need that solution. Governments, institutional agencies, they come in. It is experiential, practical knowledge. Again, as I was saying before, a lot of this tacit, a lot of this knowledge you can't get hands on actually comes through in community practice. especially in the face-to-face meetings. And then the decision makers, because in the end, that's what we're trying to influence is the decision makers. They get this multidimensional feedback, they get consensus, and it's based on experience. So it reduces the noise level, and the biggest problem I see now, working with most of the governments that I deal with, is there's too much information. Too many agencies coming in to talk to them. They're confused. They don't know what decisions to make. So it becomes really a risk mitigation, risk-averse situation for them, and they become paralyzed. And then the results based. So we got based on success, metrics based on success, but also results. This does inform decision making. You do have knowledge at your fingertips. It's very quick to go to a community practice, ask a question, and get results back within a week. It's that quick. Faster plan to action. This is the implementation side of things, and this is what a lot of decision makers want. They want some very quick actions, and some of the 1 to 2 year lead-up times that happens in certain activities that the UN specifically is bad at, is creating some of the issues. Evaluate the resources. In today's society, resources are scarce, so they want more bang for the dollar. And then also this forward-looking. By looking at communities of practice, by doing the analytical side, it becomes business intelligence for us. We can see new questions, a range of new questions being asked, and we can understand there's some new issues being faced out there. So we can, from the analytical side, when we look at all the activity within the community practice, it actually helps us for forward-looking, emerging challenges, development slide, these types of issues that come in. So we can really take a forward approach, preventative approach, by using communities of practice.
What is CDKN? CDKN stands for Climate and Development Knowledge Network. And the mission it has is to support decision makers in delivering climate-compatible development. It has 4 windows: research, technical assistance, knowledge management, partnerships, and negotiation support. It is managed by 6 organizations in alliance across 4 regions. And you can see the logos of the 6 organizations which are involved in CDKN. It is about a $100 million project from the British and the Dutch government, spread over 5 years. Now, just to give you some examples, how CDKN works with and builds communities of practice. For one, CDKN itself is a community of practice. It has alliance members from different regions, and that itself is an example of community of practice. Within our network, we support partnerships of various different kinds. For example, our program is run through a network of alliance members, each of very different competence and spread across the world. Mixture of private and non-profit. For example, PwC is one of the alliance partners, which is a private sector organization, whereas LEAD and FFLA are NGOs who are working, at grassroots level with communities and are non-profit organizations. And then we also work with stakeholders, for example, Plansa platform, which is a climate action network for South Asia, and CBF, which is Climate Vulnerability Forum. We encourage partnerships between international and local suppliers implementing our projects. And lastly, we co-fund and collaborate with donors who are working on similar mandates. So it's not in terms of, having a different kind of a setup, but we work in a collaborative fashion. In terms of benefits, partnership we see is the foundation of our work, and this was designed because it allows us to learn across from different portfolios, build upon different initiatives, avoid duplication, and finding the best expertise to deliver different projects. And there are various methods for building this network. Communication is central, but also creating space to allow people to learn and think freely about what works and what doesn't work. The second about is knowledge brokers growth. When CDKN first started, we thought about creating our own online portal. But when we did some research, we found that there are already so many portals which exist that there's no need to develop another one. So instead of developing one, what we tried to do was bring different portal members together and form a community of practice of knowledge brokers. Now, what we have learned about community of practice, we have learned that everyone is busy. Participating in a community of practice has never been priority number one. Resources are scarce. Competition within members of a community of practice is inevitable. And different forms of knowledge sharing, online conferences, work for different audiences, but not everything works for everyone. So clearly, we have to define the purpose and outputs of a community of practice. There's a conference overload, so we need to find new ways to share knowledge, find incentives for active participation, and carry out monitoring evaluation of a community of practice to see, how impactful or useful it has been.